This video is brought to you in collaboration with WoWhead.com. Hello everyone! With Shadowlands Alpha available for testing, as well as a whole lot of data mining going on, I figured it would be a good idea to make a video about some of the things that stood out for me. Some of the things that you asked about, some stuff to speculate on. Of course, this is Shadowlands Alpha stuff, so spoilers ahead.
That power will be your prison.
Sylvanas has been working with the Jailer, a dark, mysterious entity of the Shadowlands. Their connection, it came sometime after Wrath of the Lich King, the moment that she decided that she had had enough. Vengeance was hers, ours was defeated, time to yeet herself from the top of Icecrown. This landed her within the Maw, a realm of eternal damnation, ruled over by this Jailer. This is where their thing started, and now it turns out that the Shadowlands is out of balance. Where normally the souls are being judged by the Arbiter, sent off to the many areas of the afterlife, dependent on how you lived your life. These days though, all the souls are drawn into the Maw, and for the longest time, I wondered when exactly did this start to happen. We could pretty safely say that it wasn't the Burning Crusade, as Kilfa's Sunstrider, he still arrived in Revendreth and not the Maw. But then when? Well, this might be common knowledge, but it came as news to me. An interview by Warcraft Radio during BlizzCon 2019 that reveals more about the time frame.
But if you have committed just unrepentable sins, you're going to end up in the Maw, and that is just eternal torment. But the process of all of this has actually become, change, and this happened kind of back in Legion time frame. And this is part of what Sylvanas recognized and had a hand in. And so that mechanism of the Arbiter sending souls to different covenants hasn't happened for a while. Okay. And everything is going into the Maw. And the Maw is literally becoming overloaded with souls, and this was part of her plan.
The Legion time frame is apparently when the machine of death got broken. Sylvanas recognized this, made this part of her plan, overloading it with souls. The Legion time frame, that is quite large, from the initial attack on the Broken Shore, where both sides lost their leaders, all the way to the end of the campaign with the defeat of Argus and the imprisonment of Sargeras. Somewhere along that timeline, we can all have our own ideas on what event could be that catastrophic to trigger such a thing. I do recall the cutscene in which Anduin talks with his father at the Harry Potter train station, but that could have easily been just inside of his own mind. Meanwhile, Varian, he's enduring horrible torment at the hands of the Jailer. Could very well be a thing. There's also a data-mined Ysera model, the green dragon aspect that died in Val Shera. In the cutscene, we see the moon, Elune lift her spirit amongst the stars, and then at the end of the Emerald Nightmare raids, you could see her walk the lake. Her strong connection to the Emerald Dream that could place her spirit within Ardenwald, or if the Jailer was already doing his thing, she's now inside the Maw. But we can be certain that the casualties of the Fourth War, the burning of Teldrassil, the fallen Loa, Sourfang, all those that lost their lives in battle for Azeroth, they're cozy in the Maw. Something that Tyrande Whisperwind is not down with. She has become the Night Warrior, Elune's vengeance personified, and no matter what peace treaty the Boy King might sign, she will not rest until Sylvanas has been brought to justice. Data mine scenarios, it suggests that we're going to learn more about the history of the Night Warrior. Tyrande was not the first to successfully undergo this ritual. Memories are going to be investigated until we relive the last moments of the Night Warrior. That could mean that Tyrande is going to die or give up on the Night Warrior and we're reliving her final moments. But I do hope that it has more to do with the history of Elune, Night Warriors of the past, to reflect upon what Tyrande is doing. Imagine like a previous Night Warrior burning themselves out because they couldn't let go. Something like that. She also enters Torghast Tower of the Damned, with the final stage having her fight off an amalgam of tortured Night Elf souls. We need to help Tyrande fight them off, so she's on a mission. The events of Battle for Azeroth, they're going to haunt her. Why did Elune abandon her children? Could it be related to the Anima shortage in the Shadowlands? Hopefully, we're going to find out. Also, as a side note, one of these scenarios, it describes Baroness Vush working together with Alexandros, seeing the original wielder of the Ashbringer in-game again, with none other than Vush. Sign me up. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Brilliant.
So, with souls no longer being spread about the Shadowlands, the other areas, they're dealing with a shortage of anime. That is what you bring with you when you pass on. Anima. It is the lifeblood of this world. But the jailer is not working alone on all of this. Obviously, Sylvanas is part of the team, and with her comes Nephanos. We've also seen some data mined information suggesting that the Loa Muzala is on their side, sending over other Loas to the Maw. There's also a big chunk of Revendreth questing uncovered, which suggests that Sire Denethrius, leader of the Venfir Covenant, he's behind the drought plaguing the Shadowlands. After a pitched battle with the forces of Sire Denethrius, the Master wielded his power to sunder Revendreth itself and began to pour his vast reserves of anima into the Maw, flooding power to the jailer and threatening all of the Shadowlands and reality itself. A rebellion is going to rise up to put things in order. The Sire is going to be the first boss for Castle Nafria, the first raid in a journal. It's Castlevania time, everybody. At first, I was like, yeah, the Venfir Covenant of Revendreth, that's going to be the place to hang out. But after seeing more of the armor sets, more hints of the stories to come, not to mention the upcoming Covenant abilities, it's going to be really, really difficult to pick a home. I'd suggest getting some alts ready just to experience it all. Then, moving on to some outside information, a recent interview done by Taliesin and Evitel with lead narrative designer Steve Denniser, it brought some really interesting juicy bits to the surface. A Titan homeworld was mentioned, but they also talked about the nature of the Shadowlands and what death means in the world of Warcraft.
You will, as you play Shadowlands, you'll start understanding that that there are certain rules in place for the cosmos. And the Shadowlands is built specifically as a place for mortal souls to go, or souls that are of death magic, in a way. In the same way that demons, when you killed them on Azeroth, they went back to Disorder, to the Twisting Nether, to all of that. So these are kind of some of the rules of our universe that we go by. And if you look at those rules that we've established before and that we are laying the groundwork for here, you can start kind of piecing some things together, and maybe you might speculate about certain other ways that these interact with and how those beings of other cosmic forces, what might happen to them when they've been killed.
Wonder if the Shadowlands being built, if that was just a phrase used, or if there's actually a creator of it, similar to how the Keepers have designed the elemental plane. Regardless, this does tell us that there are different rules for different kind of beings. The part about demons going back to the Twisting Nether, that's been known for quite a bit now. Old gods can apparently also not truly die on Azeroth. Presumably they go back to the realm of the Void Lords. But to hear that the other magical creatures, that they might have their own spawn points, that's pretty cool. I do wonder why, if this rule is in place, why the Wild Gods and the Loa, why they do go to the Shadowlands. They have their Ardenwald resurrection phase before going to the Emerald Dream and a possible return to Azeroth. But looking at the cosmic charts, you'd think that they would fall under the magical creatures. What makes Ardenwald so special? And say that you do kill one of these magical creatures in their own domain. For example, we slain a whole bunch of the demons in the Twisting Nether, an Argus infused with Fel. What's going to be the ruling then? Would that true death send them flying towards the Shadowlands? Or would they follow the same rules as the native creatures of the Shadowlands, as in their anima would become one with the realm, used for another purpose? It's also kind of interesting to know that souls classified as mortal, that they can elevate itself as something more. Demon hunters, for example, they piggyback ride on the demon within to obtain an immortal soul. They can only truly die in the Twisting Nether. Or like a necromancer, a Kalfuzad that has left his mortal shell behind, elevated himself to a lich, now more at home within the Shadowlands and only anchored to the physical realm with their phylactery. And then you have to wonder, why do these mortal souls even go to the Shadowlands to begin with? If we compare this with the other creatures that apparently go back to where they came from, could that mean that the Shadowlands is actually the starting point for these mortal souls? So far, we've seen the Shadowlands as an end destination. The place where you go where you die, you deal with the life that you've had, and then you pass on into another role to fulfill in this domain. The Kyrian, they could potentially become a Valkyr. But what if your spirit would or could actually begin this cycle anew? Balance is important. We've heard many beings connected to the Shadowlands repeat that saying. A cycle of birth and death continuously feeding the machine that is the Shadowlands.
The cycle of life can be cruel.
Unknowingly keeping this domain going, bringing with you Anima as you die, only to be sent back and start anew. If that would be the case, then it opens up a whole new realm of connections. Take the Titans, for example. They've helped create beings like the Vrykul or the Mechanomes, who in turn were hit by the curse of flesh from the old gods. This curse of flesh, it weakened them, it made them more vulnerable to the old gods' corruption, it literally gave them flesh. But we also know that these original magical creatures, they now return to the Shadowlands. They now have souls, they have a spirit. Where did that come from? Could it be that the Titans reached into the Shadowlands and then took something, similar to how their keeper Odin took the ideas on how to create the Valkyr? Or could it be that the old gods, Yogg-Saron, self-proclaimed god of death, did he reach in and stole some of these souls? That this curse of flesh, it actually instilled a sentience, a soul, that they then could use to dig their tentacles in? Not entirely impossible, especially considering the very first zone. It shows us that in the past, the Void has attacked the Shadowlands. It is some deep speculation though, and definitely interesting to think about. They also mentioned in the interview that certain seeds are being planted for future storytelling, and that the events of the Shadowlands, they're going to set things in motion. This kinda made me wonder about what the Shadowlands, the expansion, the events in the game could actually mean for the world of Azeroth and beyond. Imagine living in a world in which you know exactly what the afterlife is going to bring. Are you someone that dies heroically, sacrificing yourself for others? Then you get to play with the angel-looking Kyrians. But are you a naughty soul? Well, you best be prepared for some torment and paying for your crimes. If this information would ever come out, and seeing how the sky above Icecrown is pretty shattered, I would assume that some people are going to notice. Imagine knowing what is waiting for you and how it would affect your daily lives. People would no longer live their lives in the here and now. Rather, they would live for what is to come. There would be a rise of cults, preachers in the streets, the search for immortality. Sure enough, there were already some ideas and beliefs towards what comes next. But to have confirmation, that's something else entirely. Life as we know it would come to a stop. Unless the Shadowlands is not what it's supposed to be. Don't get me wrong, death is part of a cycle. Everything that begins, it must have an end. But hearing them mention that the Shadowlands was built, it got me thinking about what we see here. There are covenants and ruling powers in the Shadowlands. The Arbiter judges all. Where did they all come from? Who decided that the Arbiter was going to be the one to judge all? Who decided that the Jailer was meant to cast out this eternal torment? The Kyrians expect you to let go of your past, of who you used to be, in order to pass on into your next role. Why? Why is that necessary? And it seems to actually be a question asked in the game as well. In Bastion, we'll run into a known figure, Uther the Lightbringer, who they saw fit to keep his face so that we can actually recognize him. But to the shock of many, Uther is not down with the Kyrian lifestyle. He'd rather be a purple smurf rather than a blue one, and hold on to who he used to be. Questing in the zones, it's going to give you a taste of what the Covenant story is going to be about. But to get the full thing, you'll have to pledge yourselves to them, something that's not available for testing quite yet. Meaning that we don't know all the details as to what's going on here. Is it the Jailer's influence that's preventing them from letting go? Is it the shortage of Anima that's affecting this? Or are these actual moral questions being asked about the general afterlife style of Bastion? I'm really curious. I mean, there was a reason why the Jailer started to drain the other domains of their Anima. There was a reason why Sylvanas decided to sign up with him. Obvious reasons could just be that they're the bad guys. They're hell-bent on doing bad things. But what if there was more at play? What if the expansion of the Shadowlands is going to blow everything that we know of life and the afterlife, and reveal that what we believe to be the end is actually a cycle that needs to be broken?
This world is a prison. set us all free.
Pure speculation, of course. It could also easily be that the jailer is just a very evil prime force that was able to break itself free and is now trying to consume the universe. We need to work together with our covenants to bring back balance, go back to how things used to be. But these are the fun times, right? The moments in which anything and everything is possible. So by all means, let me know what you think so far in the comments down below. If you were going to design the ending for the Shadowlands, what would you do? Who would be the end boss? How would it play out? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's going to be it from me for today. If you want to know more about all the things that we talked about today, and of course keep up to date with the hottest, latest data mine information, then be sure to keep an eye out on WoWhead. Link to our article in the description down below. You could also decide to subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!